Hi, welcome to Jeep Monkey. Today I'm going to be tearing apart that $150 engine that I got. So hopefully I got a good deal. So this is going to determine it. Got that on the engine stand, so if you're wondering what bolts to use, these are 3/8 course, and then the bottom ones are 7/16 course, which are kind of hard to find. Home Depot only has nuts in 7/16, but Lowe's has the grade 8 bolts in them. Now I just placed washers to whatever size. Got to be careful with the top ones on here. You don't want to go too deep, but on here it goes all the way through, so it's not as big a deal as long as you got thread. So these bolts tend to be unthreaded about this far. So I'm going to go ahead and start from the valve cover and work my way down. So just a little view. A lot of people save the bolts for the exact position for these things, but the main thing is you want the regular, you know how these have the thread on, I forget what they're called off the top of my head, but you want those in this position. So videotaping it so I know where to put them. The rest I don't believe really matter. I will be not using these anyway, so if you want and feel the need to save what position they're in, then by all means go ahead. You know, a lot of mechanics do and probably should, just for the sake of having the bolts in the right position. But these are 11mm, and like I said, I won't be using these bolts. I'll be using something different, probably something similar to what I used on the stroker engine I did. So one thing of note, this is a different size than the rest of them, which means the shit was jerry-rigged. They didn't use the correct bolt for it. But anyways, let me see what size this is. Looks like the threading's the same, so I don't think they damaged the block. Actually, this isn't the block, it's the head, but looking at underneath, let me get this out of the way. It actually doesn't look too bad, really. Like, everything seems tight. Doesn't look too bad. And they put a darn good seal on this thing too. The valve cover seal, it's one of my favorite brands. I think it's Felpro that makes this. So very good brand. So that kind of stuff right there is promising, other than they used a different bolt for over here. But really, this inside looks really good. Like there's not a lot of, I mean it's dark, but there's not a lot of gunk buildup, which is very nice when it comes to this kind of stuff. But anyways, let's go on to the next part. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is these little washers. And this particular valve cover, save these little washers because it's part of the, because it's a wide hole right there. So I lost one here. It went into the water pump. You can hear it moving around in there, but yeah, hold on to those. All right, so next part is your intake manifold and your exhaust manifold, which is a 9/16 socket. These are in really good shape actually, so I may hold on to these. It's a 2-piece exhaust system. I'm not sure. There may be a third piece that needs to be for those because of the, because down here there's a, they connect together on out to a single pipe, but that double exhaust right there, I think is pretty neat. It makes me think of maybe doing a, if I use this on a Jeep, doing a double exhaust if they even exist. Might have to custom one. This one's a little cracked in a couple of areas. Looks pretty old. So I'm not sure if this has been off in recent years. Little black in here. Little black. Got some sediment. That's from me messing with it with the dirt on top. But yeah, it's, well, it's hard. It's hard carbon. Yeah. My geese are going crazy for some reason. Anyways. Next part would normally be, after that, taking off the, there's a plate that goes right here to that your AC sits on, and then I want to say your alternator's down here, and then there's a pulley on it. So this engine did not come with that. If you saw the previous video, you'd see. That's gonna, I don't think that's attached to the block. So next part then, since that's already gone, is getting the cylinder head off. Now this is probably going to be the most painful portion. I believe it's half, it might be ½ I'll have to look. But your tools won't, if they're torqued correctly, your tools won't be able to get it off just by themselves, unless you got like a, using pneumatic or something like that might do it. But I generally use all battery and then use just arm strength to get these bad boys. I just break them loose and then I use the drill the rest of the way to take the bolts out. So, all right. The hardest one out of all of these is going to be this one right here in the front. So they're all hard. This one is even harder because if they've done it properly, they've put sealant on there, because that hole goes all the way into the where the coolant runs through the engine. So you don't want that leaking. So if they haven't done that properly, it would be leaking. Doesn't look like it's leaked on the outside here. You can't tell really on the inside without it running. Anyways, let's go to that. So I'm running into a little issue. These are coming off actually way too easy. I don't know if they were torqued properly, but it is not leaking. Got a lot of gunk and dirt on it, but it doesn't look like the head gasket was leaking. So, but these were way too easy to loosen, unless the bolt broke in the block, but I don't know. But I'm having an issue with these because my socket is too small in the inside for a round. It won't fit all the way onto the bolt. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out. All right, so I went to a 1/2-inch Husky socket, fits over these. The one I was trying to use before was a Craftsman 1/2-inch. Not the newer Craftsman, the old Craftsman when they were still with Sears. So seems to me I had issues with that before with the Craftsman. So yeah, go get yourself a 1/2-inch Husky one from Home Depot and you'll be able to fit over those bolts. So now let's get these off. This front one was more difficult than the rest, but they were still kind of easy in my opinion. So I don't know. Got that bolt right there. All right, now we should be able to take it off. Three-quarter. I'm gonna crank the shaft. Yes, 3/4. Just to see. I don't hear anything. No, he said he heard a tapping sound. I know. Seems a little scorched. And looks like cylinder number 3 and 4. Like it looked like it needed a tune-up. I don't know how long this engine was sitting after they took it out. I don't know, but it turns real easy, like it should. So I don't hear any noise. I mean, obviously there's no pressure being built up in the cylinders with this, but I don't know. I don't know if that makes a difference. Let's get these rods out of here. I mean, I don't see any doesn't feel like any damage. No scoring. A little bit of wear maybe, but that's normal. The oil smells a little burned. Maybe not. I don't know. One thing I do see, actually, let's take this. That head gasket off. I mean, there's a lot of little pieces, But I don't see a lot of rust either. Because all through these areas, there's going to be coolant flowing through. A little bit of rust. Yeah, it's rusty. So sometimes people put water in their shit and